Imagine waking up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom and seeing these enormous yellow eyes staring back at you from the darkness. Probably not the kind of thing that would help you get back to sleep. Well, if you've ever had this experience, there's a good chance that you were visited by an animal with big, beautiful, round eyes, like those of a baby owl, a tarsier, or a lemur. But why do lemurs have such big eyes? To answer that question, we need to take a closer look at their evolutionary history and understand why big eyes might be advantageous for them. Hi, I'm here to introduce you to my channel. While today there are many species of lemurs living in Madagascar, they weren't always this small and furry. In fact, the ancestors of today's lemurs were much larger and more closely resembled modern apes. This group of ancient lemurs was huge, with some species growing to over 10 feet tall and weighing more than 300 pounds. These giant lemurs were the dominant land animals in Madagascar for millions of years. They were strong enough to smash open the hard shells of nuts and fruits, helping to disperse seeds across the island. But then around 13,000 years ago, something caused their population to crash. Many of the larger lemur species went extinct, and the survivors were much smaller than their ancestors. Some of these small lemurs started to fill the niches left vacant by the larger lemurs, and one of these new ecological roles was as nocturnal primates. Being active at night comes with some challenges. It is harder to find food when you can't see very well in the dark, and you have to contend with nocturnal predators that are active during your nightly adventures. For lemurs living in these conditions, having better night vision could mean the difference between life and death. But how does bigger eyes help with seeing in the dark? When it comes to light, size does matter. Larger eyes can gather more light, which means that they can see much better in dim conditions. Modern lemurs with their huge eyes are actually perfectly adapted to see in the dark. Their eyes are so large that they can only see directly forward. This is called a binocular vision, and it helps them judge distances accurately while they leaping from branch to branch. The downside is that they have huge blind spots on either side of their head. So, if something sneaks up on them while they're leaping, they might not see it coming until it's too late. Their big eyes also come with another disadvantage. You might think that having huge eyes would make lemurs look fierce and intimidating, but actually the opposite is true. Studies have shown that people tend to perceive animals with large eyes as being cute, and this cuteness bias triggers our nurturing instincts. Maybe you've noticed how a silly picture of a baby animal can brighten your day, or how you feel an instant connection with a pet that looks up at you with big, innocent eyes. Lemurs rely on this bias to help them survive. Their cuteness helps them avoid predators, and humans are especially susceptible to their charms. We're so enamored with their big eyes that we often keep them as pets, without realizing that in the wild their eyes are adapted to see us as dinner. Of course, the lemurs that we keep as pets aren't the same as their wild ancestors. Domesticated lemurs have shorter, softer fur, smaller brains, and larger eyes than their wild cousins. And while this might make them more appealing as pets, it also makes them less appealing to scientists, because domesticated animals always reflect what their wild relatives are like. So scientists have had to turn to studying fossils to learn about the evolution. By comparing the eye sockets of fossil lemurs to those of living lemurs, researchers learned that the trend toward larger eyes happened independently in both domesticated and wild populations after giant lemurs went extinct. So why did this happen? Well, it seems that lemurs with larger eyes simply had an advantage. When it came to finding food and avoiding predators, bigger eyes may have helped them see better in the dark, but they may have also been able to see more colors, too. Having an accurate assessment of the color of the sky can help animals determine the best time to forage or migrate. Being able to tell if a fruit is ripe or if a mushroom is poisonous can also be the difference between life and death. More colorful vision may have been advantageous for lemurs living in a lush tropical environment. So as long as there was plenty of food to go around, the lemurs with the biggest eyes were the most likely to survive and pass on their genes. So the next time you find yourself staring into the huge yellow eyes of a lemur in the middle of the night, remember that those eyes used to be even bigger.